Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Today I'm gonna talk to you guys about this case that happened some years ago. Okay, this happened in 2009, and this is so important for me to speak about because I just feel like this happened right around the area where I went to college in Terrytown. And Terrytown is mentioned here in this story too, this tragic story that happened in real life. And I don't want to get too much into the details. I'm basically here to tell you what I think actually happened. And if you have any type of input, please feel free to reach out, leave a comment, or let me know, if you disagree with me or you agree with me, because I feel like a lot of people look at this case after so many years that it had passed. It's almost like it's still so fresh in our memories, and we still haven't been able to kind of like, understand what really happened to Aunt Diane, right? And I think by saying Aunt Diane, you guys know what I'm referring to. Today I'm going to speak about the 2009 Tectonic State Parkway crash that happened that involved that involved Diane Schuler. She's a mom. She was 36 years old when that happened, and in that runway crash that happened, like I said, in the Tectonic State Parkway, she was driving in the wrong direction for about a mile and a half, which is a very long time. Okay, and if you haven't heard about this case, it's a very tragic case, and I'm gonna give you a warning before you start doing your research. But I think by now, most of the people, if you came across this podcast or video, you probably know, you probably are doing your own research about this. Okay, and I feel like the more and more that people are talking about it, the more new fresh eyes are looking into this case, perhaps we can get some type of answer, the answer that people are waiting to hear. I think that we understand 100% that the person who knows exactly what happened is Diane Schuler, but and she's not alive to let us know what happened. But I feel like when you look at it from a different perspective, and you have new set of eyes looking into it, looking at the story for the first time, perhaps we can come to some type of conclusion that makes sense, because life repeats itself, right? A lot of people have gone through similar things, and they can probably have perhaps not so tragic as this, but they maybe had some type of experience that are similar and something that we can learn from. Okay, so let me just give you kind of like the brief story of what happened. So Diane Schuler was coming back from a camping trip weekend that she had with her two kids and three of her nieces, and this happened on Sunday, July 26, 2009, and the crash happened about around 1:30 p.m. at the Tectonic State Parkway, like I said, you guys. So apparently she was camping the whole weekend with her husband and three of her nieces and her two kids, and apparently they had two vehicles, right? One vehicle, heading back home, it was the dad, and he was driving with the dog of the family dog, and then Diane took the minivan that belonged to her brother, and she took all of the kids with her. And I think that just by saying that, I had mentioned this before in different type of podcasts, and I had people, kind of like say, oh, it's not that uncommon. Let me just tell you something. This lady, Diane Schuler, she took all the kids in the minivan. It's like, first of all, why are you taking two cars? Like, that does not make sense to me. Why take two cars, and like the father doesn't even help? Oh, my boy, like at least the Ryan, the lone survivor that I gotta say, like at least I'll ride with that or something like that. That never happened. But anyways, before I get into my opinion, let me just tell you exactly what happened. So they were driving back from a camping trip. The dad was driving with the dog and in a different car, and then Diane Schuler in her brother's minivan, the red minivan, the famous red minivan, was driving back with her three of her nieces and then her two kids, right? And then At some point, 45 minutes into her drive home, she stopped, 15 minutes into the drive, she stopped at a McDonald's, okay, where she's seen, you know, just doing regular things like buying food, feeding the kids, and then the kids are seen playing in the playground of McDonald's. And I think, to me, that's the big red flag, okay? Let me tell you, when I was younger, I went to a lot of camping trips. And when we're coming back from a camping trip after having a weekend of fun and being tired and waking up early in the morning on a Sunday to go back home, we don't, if we're gonna get something to eat, we're gonna get something to eat, we're gonna go. There's no like, oh, let's play now. My mom would be like, oh no, you guys play the whole week, and we're gonna get something to eat to get back on the road, especially when they have people waiting. And the reason that I'm saying that is that her sister-in-law, the mom of the three nieces that were in the band, they were waiting for them because they gotta go to dance practice or something like that. So it's not like they had, I was surprised, and I don't think a lot of people picked up on this little detail about McDonald's and that stop that she made. Why were the kids playing in the playground of McDonald's when they're just stopping to get breakfast? Why even get out of the car, right? When you have a deadline, the kids are tired, perhaps maybe one or two wanted to use the bathroom, okay, that can make sense. But to also get out, get a table, go to the playground and feed the kids, like that, to me is a big red flag. Like, why? They just came from camping trip. You're not going out on a Sunday with them like as a regular fun day type of day. You're coming tired from a camping trip. But that's just my opinion, okay? So let me continue on by talking about exactly what happened. So the first stop after she packed the kids and left the campsite was McDonald's. Like I said, after McDonald's, right across, I believe, there's a gas station, and there's actual footage of Diane Schuler getting out of the minivan and going into the gas station. And they say that she seemed asking something. Okay, she asked something to the attendant, and apparently he didn't have it. And then she walks right out and leaves the Sunoco gas station. And right when they pass, there's so many things that don't make sense. Okay, right when she left, she continued driving on. And witnesses say that in the highway, she seems to be beeping the horn for about a mile. Like, what is going on? Like, she is beeping the horn for about a mile and tailgating people, driving very recklessly. Okay? And I feel like, let me just tell you something. We all, the majority of people by now, people watching this video, I understand that a lot of us, we have cars, we drive every day. When people are tailgating you, you're like, what is this guy want? You basically say, what is going on? Why are they tailgating me? And some people will like confront them and like slow down on purpose. I'm the type of person that'll be like, okay, I get out of the way so you can move forward. Like, apparently you have some type of emergency. That's basically how I see it, because you have to be so careful when people do that, right? When they tailgate you, they're flashing their lights at you to kind of make you move faster or whatever. But apparently Diane Schuler was doing all of that. And the witnesses, it's interesting because the witnesses said that she looked like she was on a mission, okay? And that's just hard to understand why, they're saying so many things that they found on her body, on the toxicology report after she died. Like, they say that she was completely drunk and all of that, like 3 times the legal limit. But a person who's drunk kind of like sways back and forth, right? A person, we all seen them. That's how, I never experienced, like, maybe I've seen a couple drunk guys on the streets and things like that. But people who are drunk, they don't have a balance. This lady, Diane Schuler, is being described as driving straight forward on a mission, okay? Fast on a mission, beeping her horn, following people, tailgating them, okay? And then during that time, okay, this is very important. So during that driving recklessly that she was doing, she was able to make a phone call, okay? And she said to her sister-in-law, that the mom of the 3 nieces in the car, she said, we are running late, okay? And the the crazy thing is, like, everybody who spoke with her over the phone in the beginning, they said she sounded so normal. And then at one moment, they continue driving. Then one moment, the niece, the oldest niece, she was 8 years old. She called her mom, and she said, "There's something wrong with Aunt Diane," right? That's the title of the HBO documentary, if you want to look into it. And then she called her mom. She said, "There's something wrong with Aunt Diane." And the mom said, "What do you mean?" She said, "What do you mean put Aunt Diane on the phone?" So let's just think about that for a second, okay? So the niece is calling. Diane is hearing that the niece is on the phone with her mom, right? So the mom says she heard them crying. She heard the younger child crying, and Emma, I believe her name was the 8-year-old, she also sounded like very upset. She said, "There's something wrong with Aunt Diane." And then she said, "What do you mean there's something wrong with your aunt? Put her on the phone." Okay, so I'm trying to understand. The kids, apparently none of them had seatbelts, okay? Because she's saying, "Put her on the phone." So the 8-year-old niece passes the phone to her mom, to her aunt, excuse me. And then Diane says on the phone, so they're asking her, "So how did she sound on the phone when she passed the phone to her?" She said to her, "Oh no, they're just playing, everything's fine, they're just playing." Like, that to me is crazy. Like, delirium, when people are drunk, right? I never been drunk. I don't drink, nothing like that. They also say that she was smoking pot and whatever, all of that stuff. When people are drunk, like, you ask them something, right? When you know somebody's not right, like 100% they've been drinking because they smell of a drink or something, they be like, "Oh, you're lying, you're crazy, I'm doing fine, whatever." And then they pass the phone, and she talks to them. She said she didn't make a lot of sense. She just kept saying, "Oh no, they're fine, they're just playing." Like, those are, like, if I'm the mom, gonna be like, "What do you mean? They sound like they're crying. What is going on? Why is my daughter crying in the back seat? Why did she call me? And how did the 8-year-old get a hold of the cell phone?" That's like my biggest thing. Like, this is 2009. This didn't happen last year, 2021, right? This is 2009, where people were still getting used to phones, and, like, maybe not people, but like children, right? And like 2009, how did the 8-year-old got a hold of the cell phone, first of all? Okay. Because if the Aunt Diane said to her, "Here, can you call your mom? I'm not feeling too good. Can you call your mom?" She's passing the phone to her niece. The kid would have said, "Hey mom, Aunt Diane wanted me to call you because she's not feeling too good." That's not what she said. She said, "Oh, there's something wrong with Aunt Diane." And then the mom said, "What do you mean? Can you put her on the phone?" Then when she passes the phone back to the aunt is completely lying and saying, "Oh no, they're just playing." Something else happened here, okay? And let me just tell you. So apparently, second, that call that she had with the daughter of the nieces, her sister-in-law, got disconnected abruptly, right? And after that, they believe that they passed. I mean, this family passed the entire Tappan Zee Bridge. Okay, this is the same lady that was driving. Recklessly, beeping the horn, tailgating people. She was able to maneuver the Tappan Zee Bridge, okay, and pass through the tolls, okay, on the Tappan Zee Bridge. Not the Tappan Zee Bridge right now, but back then, like I said, I went to school in that area. I went back and forth the Tappan Zee Bridge all the time. So this is why it's so familiar. So right when they exit the Tappan Zee Bridge in Terrytown, right, then Diane calls her brother, and her brother, the father of the three nieces, right? And she said, he didn't. The thing with the brother, here's the thing with the brother, he hasn't come out and spoken a lot. And I understand, guys, this is very hard, and I understand when things are said and done, basically what happened with this family, the last thing you want to do is stir up the pot and stir up the pot and bring things to the surface that perhaps may implicate you being responsible for something. Okay, so who was the last person who spoke with Diane besides the nieces in the car that died also with her? Because that's the thing, they all died except for her son. Okay, I believe his name is Ryan or Brian. He was the lone survivor of the crash, and I'm gonna give you guys the name, right? So I'm sorry. So she called her. The last person who actually spoke with Diane was the brother. So when they're speaking, they're at the Tappan Sea Bridge, just right past through the toll, and they're at the exit, right by the exit where it says Terrytown, right? And then Diane said, I'm having trouble seeing. This is what she's saying to her brother. So this lady coming recklessly, driving, beeping the horn, tailgating people, driving in the medium, going to the gas station, stopping at McDonald's, all of that, was able to manage to pass through the entire Tappan Sea Bridge on a straight line, pass through the toll, and make a complete full stop. Okay? And she made a stop, and she is calling her brother and saying, I'm having trouble seeing. And then something else was said in that conversation that we have no knowledge of, and we know that two people knew what happened in that conversation is Diane, and she died, and the brother who is alive, who hasn't come out and giving any interviews about it. Okay, and like I said to you guys, there are things that are hidden in this case, besides the fact that the family doesn't want to accept that she was drunk. There are things that are hidden in this case, and this is why I feel so passionate to speak about it. And then apparently when she had that conversation with her brother, he says to her, stay where you are, I'm going to get you. Okay, and then she passes the phone to her niece, and the niece, the child, I think the oldest, the 8-year-old, says, the dad is asking, tell me, what did you see? And she said, read me the sign. The dad says, read me the signs, what are you seeing? She said, Terrytown. Okay, so I can picture that exit, right? Because that used to be my exit, right, of the Tappan Sea Bridge to get back to my school, so I can see exactly where they're stopping in my head. Obviously, I don't know, I didn't see anything of that, what happened. And then the kid said Terrytown. Why, if he says to her, okay, why if he says to her, I know exactly where you're staying, I'm coming to get you? Why did Diane continue to drive on? And then witnesses said, this is another point, witnesses said that they saw a red minivan with the lady out of the car, stopping like she was vomiting, right, in the run past the Tappan Sea Bridge. And that's the second time, because she was seen vomiting twice. Okay, this lady was seen vomiting twice. How does a drunk person, they can say she was 3 times drunk. She was drunk 3 times. She's a very strong-willed person. She was the head of the household. She had a great job, had employees, had a secretary, was able to manage so much so. How did she become so irresponsible that day? Something was triggering her to do that, okay? This is not alcohol here, guys. I understand that she was drunk. I understand that there was bad. I understand all of that. Like, people who are drunk, that's why they give them that test on the street. Walk on the straight line. People who are 3 times the legal limit of alcohol, they don't manage to do so much like that. Something was triggered in that phone call, so much so that the cell phone was left right there outside the Tappan Sea Bridge by the Terrytown sign that you see there. What do people do when you're sick and tired of people telling you? You can be drunk or not. When people are just bossing you, put the child on the phone. The child is saying something's wrong with my aunt. Put her on the phone. I want to talk to her. Oh no, they're just playing. Okay, put her back on the phone. I'm having trouble seeing. imagine the brother, now I gotta go come get you because you're not good enough to come and drive yourself over here. What are you doing? You have to be here. You know they have practice. You're running already an hour late. What is going on with you? What do you do when people are talking perhaps to you like that? You're already tired of having all these kids the entire weekend. You're already taking them off their hands so that, they can have a fun time with the family for the whole weekend. Now you're being pressured to act up, to come up to the plate and be the super mom that you are. And now you're asking for help, and now you expect me to drive whatever hours it is to come and get you because you're having trouble seeing. What do you think? What does that make sense? Why would she leave a phone? She said she wasn't feeling well. Why is she leaving the phone now? Why did the phone was left there? Okay. Let me just say something. Right? A lot of people, when they're not feeling good, once you vomit, like, you feel so much better right after. This lady was seen vomiting twice. I do believe that there are some things that are hidden. I do believe 100% Diane was not having a good weekend. She basically saw her life kind of like she might have, this is just my opinion, everybody, okay? This lady probably had a great career and she was making money. She was the head of the household. They said she was a super mom. Let me tell you, super moms, they also get tired of being super moms. I don't mean like in a harsh way. They also need their time. They can say yes, but you need to understand, sometimes you have to say, I'll take it this time. That's okay. Diane, I'll drive all the kids back. You drive with the dog. Let me drive. Take your time. You were with the kids all weekend. What is the husband doing? He has said many times in this thing that they did for HBO, he said that he feels so much like he's angry with Diane because he never wanted to have kids, and now he's in the position that he has to take care of the boy that survived, their own child that survived. Are you serious? Like, for him to even come out and say that publicly, that's so painful. Okay, for him to not have the strong will or the morality to be like, hey, HBO, you're doing a documentary that I agreed to do. Please do not publish the photos of my wife dead body on this documentary for the world to see. Why did he allow to do that? Why did he allow them to do that? I was completely shocked, everybody. I'm not asking you to go watch. I'm just saying, I'm watching this documentary on HBO, and I'm like, what are they doing publishing the dead photos of Diane Schuler? Like, what is the morality? What is the dignity? They couldn't save that dignity. Like, she has a boy her only boy that survived the crash is gonna grow up and he's gonna be able to search stuff. And he's gonna come up across those photos. Where is the family? They want to find out that she was not drunk or not or whatever, but they couldn't stop the photos for being released. Why is the brother of Diane Schuler not saying exactly what happened in that conversation? Why couldn't he say, hey, if you are having trouble, like, man, if my sister, God forbid, if I have anybody that I know personally and they're calling me for help, they say, hey, I cannot see right now. If I'm 2 hours away, I'll be like, okay, call the police and I'm coming where you are right now. And if they say to me, I cannot talk, hey, try to call the police. If not, I'm gonna call the police. Let me know where you are. Like, why? Something was said, I keep emphasizing that. Something was said in that last conversation that Diane had. This lady, they're gonna make us believe. The family knows more than what they're saying. This drunk lady, that That's the toxicology report, that she was 3 times drunk the legal limit. They want to talk about the dentist and that she had a bad tooth that was bothering her, this and the other, and that's why she went to the gas station to get some type of medication. Let me just tell you something. Diane Schuler and her issue with her teeth, and if you guys, I understand dentists are, terrifying. I think about it twice before I go to. Let me just tell you something with Diane Schuler. This is not a dental pain that just appeared out of nowhere. Her friend said that same week they noticed her doing this to her mouth, right? When you are doing this frequently to your mouth, you don't run out of Aleve or Tylenol or whatever it is. You make sure you have it on stock, because if you're trying to avoid the dentist and you're going to medicate yourself, you make sure you have enough. I don't think she was looking for that at the gas station. I think she was looking for something else. And here's the thing that I know people are not going to probably understand, and it's all a speculation. Like I said, this is just me looking at it from a different perspective. That stop at McDonald's and the whole go play in the playground, it's almost like a reward. She was giving some type of reward. That's what I feel like. It's something, there was a conversation that happened with her and her husband that day of the camping trip. And the last day, there's something that, people who are always so strong, they have a breaking point. And it's so sad. It's so sad that she didn't see a way out. I just feel like there were conversations that happened with her and her husband and her brother, and unfortunately they're not going to come out. They want to pinpoint, this is why I feel like they don't want the public, or maybe they were fighting for the public not to know that she was actually drunk, because it's almost like he said many times she was not drinking like that. She was not drinking that. So what was it then? Can you tell us what it was? Right? He wants to say it was her tooth. It was this, the other. A person who was that drunk was able to pass through the Tappan Bridge. Was able to pay toll, whatever, easy pass, whatever. But basically what I'm trying to say, she was able to drive on a straight line, know which lane to go. She didn't go to the opposite lane, or went to Cash where you had to stop and whatever. She went through that toll perfectly fine, the Tappan Bridge, and then she was able to stop, and then she was able to get back in the car after she was told somebody was coming to get you, and then she left her phone out. She didn't want to get a call anymore. She was fed up. Something was going on. Okay, the sister, the lady who lost her kids, her daughters, I understand that she's going through very hard times. Something she might have said. She said, put her on the phone. And she's saying when she's being interviewed, she just didn't make any sense. What did she say exactly? What was your conversation with her? When somebody said, oh no, my daughter put her back on the phone, and I said to her, what's wrong with you? Emma's saying that you don't sound good. Oh no, we just went to the park and this. At least tell us. If that conversation didn't make sense, say it. Okay, say just like that. Don't say she wasn't making any sense. What did you say to her? Diane, you're gonna be late again? I have to take these kids to rehearsal, whatever it was. When people give you 10,000 favors, right? And your favors meaning they're taking the kids away from you so you can have time together, whatever. And this will happen quite often, right? They will go to the campsite quite often, and you still gonna complain because they're running late. Maybe Diane felt like she was being used, everybody's being ungrateful. She's like, I'm done with this phone, I'm gonna leave it here. How did this person drives into the wrong entrance? That's my point. How did you go through the tap and sewage? How did you? I mean, she's vomiting. She's letting it all out of the system, whatever it was that she's having with, right? Whatever it was just that she was dealing with, medically, she's letting it out of her system. So much so that she gets back on the car. She gets back on the car. Something happened with those. She spoke with her. She spoke with her husband. She spoke with the brother specifically. I think the brother is the most important one, and she spoke with the sister-in-law. And the husband was at the campsite, the brother and the sister-in-law during the trip. Something was triggering her. Something triggered her to just be like, you know what? I'm gonna put the phone down over here. I don't want it. I'm done. Something happened. Let me know what you guys think about this case. Thank you so much for listening to this and watching this video. God bless.